Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Mark Prater podcast, where our aim is to connect our global family of Sovereign Grace churches with our executive director. Mark, we have a guest.
You do. I
One of,
guess the most famous man in Sovereign Grace.
yes, and one of our favorite people, we have Bob Coughlin with
Yeah.
us. I'm at the Pastor's College this week, actually attending a class on understanding the biblical prophets with Dr. Peter Gentry. It's been fantastic. Now we're at the end of the week. And since I'm here and Bob's here, we decided to record a podcast with you, Mark.
Where are you, Mark?
I'm at my office in my home.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
glad you're there. Wish you were
Yeah,
here.
me too. Yeah, me too.
So we could talk with Bob about all kinds of stuff, but what we
Yeah.
want to talk to Bob about today is the Worship Matters Intensive. So why don't you get us started, Mark?
Yeah, I wanted to dedicate an episode to this because I think these Worship Matters intensives are really important. And what I would really want to hear guys to hear in this podcast is let's send more Sovereign Grace guys,
Yes.
worship leaders, pastors to the Worship Matters intensives. And we were talking before we started recording. Bob says, actually, we're starting to get a few more Sovereign Grace guys. That's great news. Let's keep sending them, in part because worship leaders really do impact the Sunday service, and we want to do our Sunday service in a Christ exalting way. But also we've got, we've got first generation worship leaders that are transitioning out, and second and third generation guys are stepping in. This training program is really well done and is intended, I think, to serve Sovereign Grace worship leaders. So, Bob, thank you for putting Worship Matters Intensive together. Tell us why you even created the Worship Matters Intensive.
Well, first, thanks for having me on. I love this context, and I love being able to talk to our guys about how we're seeking to serve our churches. The Sovereign Grace Music exists to serve our churches,
Yeah.
And obviously the larger body of Christ as well. But it was 2017, I think, when we had our first one, and
Wow.
I'd written Worship Matters back in 2008. That's when it came out, and the Lord has so kindly used that in the church, our churches and beyond. And I was just thinking, talking with Devin, others about how can we get this in for, how can we train guys, not just use a book, but how can we train guys?
Right.
So I was thinking of, talking to Devin about what format could that take? What could that look like? So we were just coming up with new stuff, and then Brittany, who was my daughter, was my admin at that time, came into the office, and I told her what I was doing, and she said, "Dad, why don't you just build this on your book?" And it was like a whole moment where the Holy Spirit both said, "That's a great idea, and you're really dumb." So we just put together a you could approach it like a school, something, a 3-month thing or a year-long thing. I didn't want to do that. Didn't think that would be practical. So we just thought Wednesday night through Sunday, where we are going through the content, basically, of the book, Worship Matters, in which I tried to put everything I could think of at that time to connect theology with methodology. That's where that book hits. It's not Engaging with God by David Peterson. It's not For the Glory of God by Daniel Block. It's not just, hey, here are 10 practical tips for leading music in your church.
Right.
It's looking at our theology and saying, this is what it means for our life, for our leading, for our relationships. And that's what the book covers. So we cover all of that in the intensive. And when we first started, I think we were having 18 guys come each time. So we just did our intensive.
Wow.
So, over 300 guys have gone through it. A lot of those were outside Sovereign Grace. We just, made it available to whoever wanted to do it. And so it's evolved, and just is one of the best things I do, I think.
Excellent. Well, I think we started going to Living Hope, the church I serve at, in 2007, 8. So I remember getting Worship Matters when it first came out. We've benefited from that book over the years, given away countless copies. And recently we sent our music director, Tyler Margison, just a couple months ago, to the first guy, I think, at Living Hope that's gone to the intensive.
I've been waiting for you guys to send something.
And we finally sent, no, we're going to send 2 more. So So he's a bivocational guy. He's a pastoral resident music director, and so it made a lot of sense to send him. Came back with all kinds of helpful input that he received and encouragement. But the Worship Matters Intensive isn't just for guys that are staff or music directors. There's a broader uh, collection of folks that can come to the Worship Matters Intensive. Who is the Worship Matters Intensive for?
Well, it is primarily for that guy who leads the music. That's who you really want to get. That's why I really want to equip. And I should say we really want to equip, because David Zimmer and Fabrizio Rodolfo also play. They attend and they're participating in conversations. But what's been happening is pastors have been coming with their music guy to kind of observe and support and experience that relationship for that time. That's been huge. Because you're able to interact over the material. We've seen for a while now, if the pastors don't get it, it doesn't matter what the music guy gets.
Good.
We don't want to be talking to all the music guys and then going back and saying, hey, what about this? What about that? And the pastor's going, wait. And you talk, Mark, about first generation leaders. I think, there's been a transition for sure from first, second to third generation. And the first generation guys, and I put myself in that category, we can kind of think, hey, we've been doing this for 30, 40 years. We're good to go.
Right.
That's not the way it is.
Yeah, right.
We're always going back to scripture to say, is this the wisest thing? Is this the most biblical thing? Is this the most helpful thing? Asking all those questions. And that's what the intensive is designed to do. Ask those questions about your life, about your leadership, about your relationships in a way that's going to really affect your church. And that's the intention. It's not just to have a good time with, 15, 16 guys and go home. That was really just great. No, we're challenging guys to ask the questions. So I would say generally it's for the person who is most responsible for leading the music in your church, the pastors who might want to accompany. Now, the pastor won't necessarily, they won't stand up and lead at the intensive, but they'll be there taking in all the content and being involved in the conversations. So that can be, I think, extremely helpful.
Excellent.
Yeah. Now, we may have guys that are listening or reading the transcript of this podcast who are somewhat regular leading singing on Sunday morning, but they're also got a full-time job, and they may be asking the question, is this worth me taking vacation days to travel to Louisville to spend a few days with Bob and with Fabrizio and David? So how would they benefit? How would they benefit from spending those few days with you?
Well, this is somewhat awkward for me. But here, what spending time with me, how will benefit you? I would say that for one, we have everyone who comes watch the 11 videos that we put together of the intensive. So when the intensive first began, I pretty much taught a lot of it, and we had some Q&A. It's morphed over the years to be something that's much more conversational, and I think helpful for the guys who come. So everybody watches the videos, the Worship Matter video intensive before they come.
Oh, good.
Information. So that's all there. So when we get together, the guy actually leads and gets evaluated. What's good about what you've done? What could change about what you've done? And we video it and send it back with them. So they can review it. Every guy says, not only was that helpful for me, but it was helpful seeing 14 other guys get that kind of input. We have an opportunity to ask a lot of questions. So it's not that you have to change everything about what you're doing. This would be the same for anything we do, preaching or serving in any way. What can be better? What would be more biblical? And we approach it from all different kinds of levels. We begin with your heart. Are you doing this for the glory of Jesus or your own glory? Why are you doing this? You'll grow in skills there, communication skills, musical skills. But we'll talk about how we construct our meetings, because that's another one that, we've been doing it this way for 30 years. Why change? Well, because maybe there's some things you're doing that aren't as helpful,
Right.
or that could be more directly glorifying to Jesus, more bringing people into his word than what you're doing. Because we changed things radically when we moved here to Louisville almost 13 years ago. And we're still changing things. So it's just having guys ask those questions. How can we do this better? And in the end, leaving with a fresh appreciation for how glorious Jesus is and why we.
That's great. Ben, you mentioned that you just recently sent Tyler,
Yeah.
who does hold a full-time job, I believe as a police officer. What was it? What was it like for him?
Well, I think it's something that he's wanted to do for a while, and so it was just a delight and a joy.
He's
and
a great addition to the group.
Yeah, and so we love Tyler and have benefited from the grace in his life for 17 years at Living Hope. And so yeah, it was past due to get him to Louisville for an intensive. And so he did. He took vacation and sacrificed some of that in order to go. And I can safely say he wouldn't regret a moment of that, because he benefited deeply from taking that time away to come down, and I'm grateful for it.
When did he come back? Were there anything specific that you saw? Because I'm always asking guys this. What changed about the way he thought about something, the way he approached something? And Tyler was in a great place when he came. It wasn't like some guys. I mean, I watch as an interview process. I watch videos, guys, if they have them. I don't encourage live streams. But if they have them, I watch them and just see how they lead and try and get guys who I think will really benefit from what we're doing. But I always am interested in, was there anything that changed about the way he thought about what he did?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we've benefited from your teaching, Bob, for a long time now. And so there wouldn't have been a bunch of new categories for him. And the categories you're addressing, we're talking about regularly as a team. But there was a deepening of some things when it comes to thinking through, leading through a meeting, but even just some practical help with tone while leading. That was helpful.
Yes.
Something that we had actually talked about, but was reinforced and was clarified for him. But I think another element that really he found enjoyable was the relational piece. That part of that, he came away from that having made friends that he's now texting with, and other parts of the country, guys that aren't even in Sovereign Grace, but now has developed friendships. So even that as well has been a wonderful fruit and effect of that several days together.
And that's something I didn't mention, Mark, when you asked the question. That's one of the key elements of the intensive is you walk away with 14, 15, 16 new friends.
Yeah.
And some of the guys have kept up on Facebook. Some of them, the most recent class group kept up on a text. But you have guys who are doing what you're doing. They're wanting to grow, and now it's a source of encouragement, a means of grace for one another. And then the contributions during the intensive are really significant. So that's been a real help. It's not just come and listen to me. It's hearing the insights of the guys who are there, who really care about it.
Wonderful.
Excellent. Well, your second one of this year is coming up not too far from now, but is full.
We had 45 guys apply for 15 spots.
Nice.
Good problem to have.
It is. It's hard.
But that also means that there's guys that want to come, I'm sure, that may be unable to come this year, or maybe just learning about this and are thinking about this as a possibility. Next year, you have two more Worship Matters Intensive. One is in February, one is in June of 2026. How do you guys learn more about those weeks together, and how did someone register for that?
We try to keep it a secret. So
it's not working very well. I don't.
If you go to sovereigngracemusic.com under training, and you look up Worship Matters Intensive, all the information is there, and you can apply there. And we have you apply to be a part, and then we let guys know by a certain date whether they've been accepted. Usually 4 months out, so they can make plans. And Sovereign Grace guys always get first dibs. If there's a Sovereign Grace guy that signs up, they're in. Unless there's already 40 guys. Then it's harder. But as you mentioned, Mark, we really do. We want to see our churches benefiting from all that the Lord has been teaching us over the last few decades.
Yes.
And it is, our Sunday gathering is such a significant part of what we do. And over the years, we as pastors haven't always given as much attention, thought to it, and maybe don't have the time to really invest. So we want to serve the guys who are serving our churches by equipping them. Now, when it comes down to it, the local church has got to do the discipleship training, the liturgy planning, all those things. But the intensive is somewhat of a shot in the arm, a boost for all those things, and I think can get someone down the road, someone who maybe just started leading, someone who's been leading for 10 years, someone who's been leading for 20 years. I think any of those guys can come to an intensive and walk away with things that will affect what they do on a Sunday morning.
Well said. I wanted you to speak to one other training, equipping opportunity that's actually for guys out on the West Coast, worship leaders and pastors on the West Coast. You're actually going to be, you and your team, Bob, in California in October, and there's going to be the Sovereign Grace Music California Conference. I think it's October 1st through 4th.
It is.
In Santa Clarita. So tell us about that conference, who should come, and how they would register for that.
That is a great question. Well, same thing to register. You just go to sovereigngracemusic.com, and under training, the first thing I think listed is California Music Conference. We didn't call it the Worship God Conference because that's really an every other year conference. It's a brand, if you will, but it'll be very similar to it. There's some teachings we're doing there that have been done at other Worship God conferences. Dane Ortland's going to be with us. Rick Gamache is preaching. I think Mike Bullmore is going to be with us. And then John Payne's preaching. I'm going to preach. Devin's preaching, I think. But it's really for anyone who plans, participates in, leads your Sunday gathering. The conference is called Your Gathering in the Gospel. And it's such a burden that we have in Sovereign Grace that we want to continually encourage each other in, but also be a means of grace to other churches to say that if what Jesus accomplished, what God accomplished through Jesus, through his life, death, and resurrection, is not driving what you're doing when you gather, if it's not evident, if it's not fueling, if people aren't moved by it, well, then something's not quite right. And maybe even a step back from that, if your life isn't affected by it. That's one of the reasons Dane is coming, just to talk about that, just to talk about how should this affect us? So we'll have training, master classes on the Wednesday, like October 1st, for specific musicians, pianists. I'm doing the one for pianists appropriately, bass players, drummers, vocalists, guitarists. And then during the conference, we'll have breakouts for leaders and musicians and general audience. But yeah, if you want to take a trip with your team, this would be a great trip to take. Santa Clarita, what can I say?
Yeah, exactly.
It's being held in a church where Ryan Fogelsong is a pastor. Ryan has played bass for us for 14, 15 years. He's not in Sovereign Grace, but he's a dear friend, songwriter for us, and just loves what we do. He's a pastor at Grace Baptist Church where the conference will be held. But we would love, if you missed Worship God this past year, this would be, I think, a real means of grace to you.
That's great. You mentioned Ryan being a songwriter. I saw in the schedule, I think you've got I don't remember exactly whether it's a Q&A panel or breakout or something like that, dedicated to songwriting.
Yes.
So this could be a conference for songwriters to come to. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think we're doing Why We Write Sovereign Grace Songs, just talking about the process of songwriting, which is much more complicated than you think. I wish it was just sit here, get a song, record it, it's out. So people have asked us about that, and we did one of those at the Worship God conference. It went so well, we're just going to do it again. And I think, anybody, tech, we'll have tech training there as well.
Oh, good.
We want everybody who's engaged in that process of what is this meeting to understand it's all connected to the gospel. We're not professionals. We're not just doing a production.
Yes.
This is for the maximum participation of the church because of what Jesus has done for us.
Yes.
Bob, on behalf of all the pastors and members of Sovereign Grace churches, I just want to communicate our gratitude for you.
Yeah.
You have just led Sovereign Grace Music so well, and not only equipped us to grow in the way that singing is led in a God-glorifying way on Sundays. You've given us these excellent songs to sing, which is why I wanted to mention the songwriters component of the conference. So we just thank God for you, Bob. You are a gift to us, and a very unique gift to us. And we want you to know, I'm speaking for all Sovereign Grace, our appreciation for you.
Thank you, Mark. There's no other place in the world I would rather be, and Sovereign Grace Music wouldn't exist without Sovereign Grace churches, and we exist to serve Sovereign Grace churches and the wider body of Christ, but especially our pastors and the members of our churches, and it is a pure joy.
Excellent. Well, let me add my voice as well to the upcoming conference. I've not gone to that one, of course, the one that's not Worship God this year, but I've gone to Worship God several times. It is one of my very favorite conferences I've ever attended. So any pastors out there on the fence, especially lead guys leading a church, you will benefit from attending this conference as well. Whether or not you are participating leading the music or not, you are participating as leading worship in your church as a pastor in the church.
You don't have to be a musician to benefit from this conference.
Yes. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us on the podcast. Look forward to hearing about the fruit and effect of the intensives as next year's rollout. We're sending 2 guys. Hopefully, maybe they can get in.
They're in.
So they're going to reapply because they were part of the 45 that weren't able to get in. Right. But no, we're grateful at Living Hope as well for you, not just in Sovereign Grace, specifically because of the benefit we've derived from your leadership and your investment in us. So thank you, Bob. Thank you, Mark. And thank you, everyone, for checking out the podcast. We'll see you here next week, Lord willing. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching. If you have questions or comments, Mark would love to hear from you. For more videos like this, hit subscribe on YouTube or by email at markkprater.com.